Welcome back to CEO.CA. Today, I'm introducing you to Karim Rayani, CEO of Falcon Gold. Now, Falcon is an explorer with several projects in the Americas, its flagship being the Central Canada Gold Mine project, located just 20 kilometers southeast of Agnico Eagle's Hammond Reef Gold deposit. Karim, can you give us kind of an overview of what Falcon is focused on lately?
Falcon is primarily a gold copper issuer. We have the Central Canada project, which is tied onto Agnico Eagle's deposit, 230,000 ounces historic resource, which we're currently bringing back to a current calculation. From a point of this interview, I'll maybe just kind of touch on the Great Burn Copper project, because that's where we're currently drilling. It's not in a fairly highly prolific copper belt. Benton Resources is directly attached to our deposit. And they've identified 700,000 tons of copper, grading 3.61%. And what we've done is we've really acquired a sizable land area. Dating back 3 years, we've done a fair amount of work, de-risking the due diligence. We've done MAG, we've done geophysical studies, and we're permitted to do 11 holes, 1,100 meters. And as we kind of go down the rabbit hole, we'll be applying for a second permit to drill down to 3,000 meters. And this is really all designed to test the surface mineralization. Our office studies have identified 10 geophysical conductors to go off with, and it really, when you compare Benton's MAG and you compare ours, it's almost identical in nature. So we have a very good shot at being able to pull off some results on a fairly small program.
And this program that you just described for us, what's the length of time that it's supposed to take? And also, how much will it cost the company?
I'll give you an example. We had to build 8 kilometers of road. There was a government access road that got flooded. So we had to spend 3 months building a road, which should have ordinarily taken us 2 weeks. The terrain is not very kind. Drilling got delayed as we had to redo the road, clear the brush. So we've had some delays, and we're hoping to have all the drilling done within the next 2 to 3 weeks. But it could be more, it could be less.
Now, the Falcon Gold is at around 4 some odd cents Canadian dollars. Give us a few points on why you as CEO believe that the stock is undervalued. And why also this may be a great time in terms of entry point for new investors?
Well, I think if you look at the market as a whole, most companies are pretty beaten up. Things are trading 50, 60, 70% from their highs, a year, 6 months ago, 2 years ago. Gold continues to reach new highs. I think fundamentally the market is actually far better off today than it was 2 years ago. And patience is what's needed in this market. A lot of guys are just throwing up their hands. Making money in this market is really taking money from the impatient and transferring it to the patient. And Warren Buffett, that's his line. It's again, more relevant now than ever. But really, Falcon has a number of assets tied onto multi-million ounce deposits. We're kind of systematically going through which projects we're going to be focused on. We don't want to do too much dilution down here, but I think as we start getting some drill hole results back, if you compare our share price to our peers or to a neighbor, we have 40 million less shares out than they do, and we own 100%, and we're trading about 50% less than they are. So I think Falcon is extremely undervalued, and I also do think that the U.S. elections need to get kind of done, and see who's going to be running the U.S. Is it Kamala or is it Trump? I'll leave that one alone without getting into a huge political debate on this interview. But
yeah. And I'm curious to know more about you as well, especially for viewers who may not know you yet. Can you tell us about why you're best equipped to be leading Falcon through this next stage of the company's growth cycle?
Well, I've been CEO of Falcon, I think, for just shy of 5 years. I kind of fell into this position. I was a passive shareholder. At that time, I owned 10% of the issued outstanding shares. I didn't really like how the company was being run, so I basically approached management and said, I would like to kind of, help, come on board and and help steer the company. At that time, Falcon was one of the highest traders on the TSX Venture Exchange. Basically increased the market cap by between 5 and 10 fold. And if you had asked me, 5 years later, 6 years later, we would be trading at back down to our all-time lows, I would not have believed it. But again, gold is at 2,700 versus 18, 1900, which it was back then. So I think for the people that really have the stomach to wait this out, I think fortunes are going to be made.
Mm-hmm. No, thank you for the candid conversation so far. Before we go, I also want to understand maybe upcoming catalysts that are coming down the pipeline. Of course, updates on Great Burn is what we can expect, but is there anything else that you want us to be privy to?
Falcon has a number of assets, Quebec, battery metals projects in Ontario, Red Lake. We're tied onto First Mining's ground, which is one of the larger undeveloped resources in Canada. We're tied onto Agnico Eagle's Hammond Reef, which is 7-8 million ounces. There's been talks now of them putting that back into production. Our Central Canada has 230,000 ounces historic resource. The last 2 years, we tried getting in there, and there was a series of forest fires and floods, which essentially delayed us for 2 years. So our plan is to start work there probably early next year, and again focus on the Great Burns, which I think has the potential to be a world-class copper district.
Great. That's Karim Rayani of Falcon Gold. You can find the company under the ticker symbol FG on the Venture Exchange. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again in another video.